All right. What's good, y'all? Good morning. Good morning. Um, you know, I'm gonna try to put things in perspective, right? Let's start to like do the shoe on the other foot theory, meaning put your feet in somebody else's shoes. All right. We're gonna talk about Thug for a second. All right. Because the internet is like the place where everybody runs and judges and criticizes, but everybody has their own motive on why they do things. Okay, I noticed that about the internet. A lot of hypocrites. All right, we're gonna go back from the beginning with Thug in the case, in the situation with Gunna. Now, put yourself in Thug's position, right? The whole crew gets locked up. Gunna looked like he was the first one that the prosecution called. And the reason was that because they understood how important Gunna was to YSL, meaning, he was the bread and butter at the time. He was the star. Okay? Gunna really wasn't into too much street activities, but he was with the crew. At the time he was with the crew, everybody loved the crew. Everybody loved YSL. Niggas knew what they were, at least thought they knew what they were into as far as the streets and as far as entertainment. Picture yourself being Young Thug, and when the prosecution asked Gunna, was YSL a gang? Why that was so important, especially at the beginning of the trial, was because they wanted to establish that this just wasn't a record label, that it was a gang, and they used Gunna to establish it. Now, if you're Thug, when you're in the cell and you hear that, obviously that wasn't part of the plan when they went in, was for Gunna to testify that YSL was a gang. The communication wasn't there, that was going to happen. So on Thug's behalf, Thug's sitting there thinking like, damn, it didn't dawn on me that it got communicated to Thug's lawyer or his team that Gunna was going to do that. Now, put yourself in Thug's position, okay? Everybody goes in there. He knows they want him. Once he heard that, I'm sure he was disappointed and upset. Anybody would be. If any of you people out there would have happened, if that would have happened to y'all, immediately y'all would have at least been upset. Like, what the fuck is going on? All right? A lot of times beef between us black men is over communication. We got the worst communication when it comes to shit because our pride is always in the way. Nobody wants to look weak. So I'm sure when Thug heard that, he was disappointed. He was upset, and rightfully so. I mean, at the end of the day, Thug was the one that was looking at life. He knows that they wanted him. So once that happened to Gunna, obviously the communication wasn't there, or else he wouldn't have been upset. So okay, so let's just take that into consideration. You're sitting in there, you know that they want you, and it's not communicated to you that one of your guys who definitely Thug was supporting him, he was the number one guy. Gunna was the number one guy. Thug put him on. And then I'm sure after that happened, I'm sure Gunna didn't know how to communicate it back to Thug at that point. I'm sure their lawyers got in the way. So that was just miscommunication. Gunna took a plea first. He said YSL was a gang. Now, any of y'all in Thug's position would have been upset at that because at that point, from that point on, remember that the trial was long as hell. This was the beginning. From that point on, Thug was probably nervous about what was going to happen because Gunna established that YSL was a gang. So anything that comes after that's not going to be good. Because now, to the prosecution, YSL is not a label anymore. They're an organized gang. And that's what Gunna established. Now, again, I'm not here to judge. I'm just trying to put your feet in somebody else's shoes. In both of their shoes. I'm sure Gunna at the time was nervous. Gunna wasn't into the street shit. And I'm sure he thought that he had to do the best thing for him in his career, but it wasn't communicated that way with Thug. Obviously. Put yourself in Thug's shoes. You're sitting in there fighting for your life, and right out the gate, one of your guys is already saying that YSL wasn't gang. Just put yourself in their shoes. That's all I'm saying. All right. Now we got to get to the phone calls. Now, I've been in this industry a long time. I've been in the streets a long time, right? When I've worked with I've worked with some of the most majorest motherfuckers you can imagine within my career. When I'm in the studio with these guys, you don't know these guys, you're just meeting them. Most of everything what people in the industry talk about, producers, rappers, actors, actresses, singers, all they talk about is industry shit. They don't talk about politics. They don't talk about family. They don't talk about nothing but, they don't talk about relationships. All they talk about is industry shit. That's it. All they talk about is industry people and industry shit. That's all they talk about. I've been around some of that, and I'm not going to name no names, but I've been around some of the biggest. And all they talk about is gossip with other rappers, singers, actors. That's it. I mean, nothing else. This goes for all of them, all of your favorites. Sit in the studio, sit wherever they're at, and they talk about other artists. That's been going on since day one. So when Thug's on the phone talking like what he's talking, that's the standard industry talk what niggas do. Everybody does it. Everybody. What I'm more surprised at and more kind of pissed off at is, how the fuck is this even constitutional that a prison, which is part of the system, right, can leak private phone calls? I don't, that shit blows me. How the fuck can that happen? Now, they're saying, well, who leaked them? Somebody had to get money for them. Nah, because there's no watermark on them. If TMZ bought them, you can best believe TMZ's watermark will be all over that. There's no watermark. I guarantee the government's leaking them because they know what they're doing. They know, let me tell you something, from the feds to City Hall to the mayor to the governor, they all got a communications department where they have hired staff that all they do is look at social media for various reasons. That's it. And us, as a community and culture, we just give them everything they want. It's easy. How the fuck is it legal and constitutional for a private conversation? Now, he's not talking about no drug shit. He's not talking about murdering anybody. He's just talking about regular shit that everybody talks about. And you people on there, right, when you comment, everybody's so, oh my God. You motherfuckers are more into that than you are in the music. You motherfuckers can't wait to hear the next phone call. But then judge and criticize and condemn the motherfuckers doing it without looking at yourself or putting yourself in somebody's shoes. We got to stop judging, man. We got to stop judging. To me, there are right and wrongs in this situation. I get it. Everybody has their own opinions. But put yourself in their fucking shoes. All you motherfuckers gossip about everybody. The people who just wake up every day, call their girls, their guys, and they gossip about their families, their people, whoever got the money, whatever's, that's part of life. Imagine if y'all's fucking phone calls, private calls, got leaked. What the fuck would we hear? And all of y'all who judge, criticize, and condemn, imagine if your phone calls was leaked, what would we hear? I'm just saying, everybody just take a seat back and just like, at the end of the day, the only ones that's winning is the motherfucking government. Because they sit back and do this and watch each other. They're waiting for Thug to fuck up, and I hope he's smarter than that. I hope he don't let them trick him out of his shit, because that probation is a serious situation. But they're waiting for him. They're waiting for him. This is bait. This is bait. So, you know what I mean? Let's just put everything in perspective. Y'all have a great Saturday.
A word of advice that you need to hear right now. If you have been judging people, start and stop judging people. Put yourself in other people's shoes. That is a word of wisdom from Benzino, the legend. A few people have come to comment, and what is saying, nice hair, blessed morning, and I'm saying, I, Uch, you woke me up with this now. Your nephew's going in the studio. I swear, too much going on, and you just put the icing on the cake. Now saying, very real, my brother, respect for you. So what do you pick in all this that the Benzino the legend has actually spoken to you?